Oh, hi there. Good evening. I just wanted to make a quick video in regards to the Donald Trump indictment. Um, for starters, the media is completely stupid. Anything to do with Donald Trump is always stupid. It just is. Um, there are reasons why there were people who wanted him indicted and wanted him to even face prison time. But to be perfectly honest with you, he hasn't been the worst president so far. I mean, nobody really seems to care, but I mean, George W. Bush, he, kind of invaded a country, and through his actions, a million Iraqis died. I don't know if that, if anyone really cares about that or not, but I would consider that kind of an evil person thing to do. And he got 2 terms, and he never got the negative publicity that Donald Trump has got. Whether he'll win his successful bid to be the next president, I really couldn't say. Because it's a circus. Anything could happen. However, what I do want to talk about, which is one of the main sticking points to why Donald Trump didn't win the presidency in 2020 and may not win it in 2024. And it's not because Biden was super amazing. That's not the reason at all, because he is quite inadequate as a president for more than one reason. It's not just because he's a doddering old idiot, but that certainly doesn't help his case. Anyway, COVID 19 happened to be the big sticking point that everyone was afraid of. It was the West Judgment Day, supposedly. Doing a quick internet research or study, I should say. Um, you could go to the Johns Hopkins University of Medicine, and it will give you details as to what the fatality ratio was for COVID 19. I will leave a link in the description. Um, and proportionately, the US didn't actually get it that bad, and neither did Canada, where I reside. However, Canada supposedly got it worse. And all these numbers can't exactly be 100% verified because many people may have had COVID, but something else may have been the exact cause. Um, like if someone was in a motorcycle accident but he had COVID 19, it would be labeled as a COVID 19 death. And I don't think that is indicative towards accuracy. Um, and a lot of people do blame Donald Trump for the bringing of COVID 19 because of his policy against the Chinese Communist Party. And anyone with half a brain would know they are the true culprits were responsible for COVID 19, and they do it again, and they've made similar threats for decades. Let's remember that they never forgot about the Japanese and Unit 731 and all the things that have happened to them over the centuries, and why they feel as though they deserve a more prominent position in the world spectrum, especially economically wise. And this COVID 19 was going to happen anyway. And to be perfectly honest with you, it doesn't take much to scare a bunch of old people, really. Yes, COVID 19 was a horrible thing that we would rather have not had. The mask mandate was a joke in the sense that, is that really what the problem was? Because I don't think so. So I'm not one of those freedom convoy idiots who goes, "Oh, this they can't make me wear my mask. I'm not dealing with the new normal." Do you even know what the fuck you're talking about? Because I don't think you do. Um, Things have definitely changed since then. Um, I, I've noticed the economy of Canada has been reeling for quite some time, and as much as I hate to say it, Stephen Harper was the better prime minister than Justin Trudeau. A lot of people don't like Stephen Harper. I didn't say I did. I just said he was better than Justin Trudeau at holding the economy stable. He had warned of recessions and things like that. And that's not a word that's commonly used anymore, even though we are going through that here in Canada. Because that's bad publicity to Justin Trudeau. He'd rather play the blame game on somebody else because it's more convenient for him. And, he may have his father's last name, but he doesn't have any of his charisma. He does amongst his sycophants, but not in reality. A lot of people don't like Justin Trudeau, me included. And, in politics, sometimes there are certain government bodies that will use whatever prompt up excuse they can possibly think of to overthrow the current government from behind closed doors with ridiculous stories that are told to the public. And most idiots will go along with that just because of their pre-established prejudices. There's a large Hispanic Latino population in the U.S., and they were told by Donald Trump himself that they would have to, legally enter the country. They couldn't be border jumping anymore, and that would be kind of what you would expect from any political leader. It's not like Justin Trudeau's let in 500,000 of them from suspicious parts of the world. And, if someone can say something to me, 100 million times, it doesn't make it the truth. And it doesn't matter how many times they say it or how loudly they say it. If their pre-established prejudices are evident, I will not be brainwashed into believing such nonsense. So it's impossible to tell from the outside looking in exactly what's going to happen. But I will say that whatever it is will not be the story we're told. It just won't be. So, Donald Trump, a lot of people didn't like him, but they were told not to like him. And he had certain policies that caused irritation amongst certain people. And you know what? There's an undercurrent of stories that are out there, in particular LGBTQ, in particular Black Lives Matter, in particular Every Child Matters. It's a good catchphrase, but what are they really saying about white people? That we're a bunch of murderers and, whatnot? It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Not to mention, a lot of those other peoples have nothing at all to complain about with what they have done as a ethnicity group. They don't have the right. Not after the things they've done. And that's not the same for everybody, of course. There are some people who are victims of racial prejudice against gender orientation and all that kind of garbage, right? And yes, they can play the victim card, but there are a lot of people out there that nothing in particular happened to them. They're just riding on the bandwagon. And, you have to look at it from the grander perspective. What is this group doing? Does it really relate to me? Or is it just something I can latch onto so that I can better myself? Which is the case for a lot of the black people out there. I'm going to say it. I'm not afraid to say it. It's the truth. Same thing with the Native Indians. No, you have large populations of your persons perishing because you do things like heroin and smoke and sniff glue, and you're all alcoholics, and you don't have the genetics really to be alcoholics because your livers kind of conk out faster than everyone because natives went 5,000 years without drinking much alcohol. No, you did lose a war. That's true. And Canada doesn't look the way you'd like it to. Theoretically, you didn't invade another country. That's because the native persons did not actually have a country before the white man came along. They had groups that hung out in areas, large populations that lived in certain areas. That's not a country. It's not in a map. It's not on in a book or anything like that. It doesn't have rules and regulations and laws and things like that. It is not. They weren't countries. They were just Roman nomads, or they hung around a particular area mostly because there were bison around. And the blacks, like go back to West Africa. See how much more you'd like it over there. It's a wonderful place filled with horrible things. And LGBTQ, you do know what they do to people in prisons, right? And there's nothing, good about that scenario. And that does make up a large chunk of it. So, they don't have a right to talk either. But they've been given the voice to say this. And most of those groups are anti-Donald Trump. And the media has crafted this imagery so that it supposedly works on everybody and we all get brainwashed by it. Except it doesn't work because it's a load of junk. Drifting off topic a little bit, COVID-19, I believed, was handled very well, considering that there was a major world power by the Chinese Communist Party who wanted to infect the world with this disease and remind the world of their perceived notion of what the world actually should look like. And it doesn't matter who was the president, but it so happens it was Donald Trump, and so happens he, made policies that put tariffs on Chinese goods and things like that, which Joe Spineless Biden would never do because he's a coward. Remains to be seen what's going to happen. But rest assured, I'm not going to be told what to believe by anybody. I mean, I'll believe facts that are indeed facts, but all the stuff I just talked about, those are facts. And, if somebody doesn't like it because it contradicts their worldview, well, that's too bad. I don't have to agree with them. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Have a good day.